And then now they are lavender hair, yeah. We be kumasi, ye be takradi, ye be or tamale, a year of food, yeah, de, the site, across the length and breadth of the country. Right. Enti munsem nyina ena egusu a edeba. Enti mpanifo nso so betena se. Na yetimi adwendwene ho.
FRIMPONG Needs FM. What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized feel different. Always think specialized. Special Ice Natural Mineral Water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Catch it. If you're right, maybe I know you know. And that's what be. If you are with you, but some me, my mother rent to say. If you're right, what the Ghana cities? If you are there, come over to your 8 Ghana cities. Hey, son is Mabu said, if you're right, between Batita Mumpumo, and with your costume. Now, this way chocolate drink that I be. Someone of my Elchan when you that bay and I will crowd better too. What to make us say be a few of our sure Shebra. I mean, you become Anomoda.
A Jeffy Ras had your wood your book. If you're afraid you would to your knee, if you're afraid you would say, this way chocolate drink for full you swa a good job me. Yet, tenants of 1 year I got to a team on my day.
If you're a wood to any or wood to any, you're brown at day. Eh, now this way chocolate drink, no sugar and that sugar womb, and then once one was here.
And you hear any social.
Now, I'm a peppy, I'm sure so sugar cap from the family, I shall say, Bia, Muba from at this way, such at Bakumpo, a good more chatty, I'm a man.
If you're a study, yet, this way chocolate drink a boost for supermarket or can see John filling stations and the shops and no moment to Yamatebusi and she and San Koto and Metati Maunum.
Hey, if you're a baby, for Valanda Swa, would the boy, yes, I am, woman out the Kutukum. You got this way chocolate drink and so if you were in your debut, sir, we shall see.
Actually,
Yabako.
FDA, I just said, you didn't crack to more to say a year.
What? But dear Bakwan did not Bakwan in fact, and then dear Ditchum. I do can correct. A bush of 40 be their bear for a crassa by Pabaka cracker. What? For and not Bakwan, Ocean, Nina and Nick Dennis and a Chilsham City and one. At the South Crassa Benoit, I will best run what I did.
Oh, and an idea what's it? Neat palm nut extract and a media boy points up.
Neat palm nut extract.
Annie, a befe fed the dead tea upon walking once a me, and not been a neat foods or much cheer which ends him. And just said, I mean, Zabra crowd, a bemo. Nafena me was say Bracon no abewo jaso, and for one could see me fending your home, and a media banquine any steam.
Oh, that's a neat foods at the Bakwan Badia, and what to man for Bresso. A better want to be so powerful, say, a banquine when they yet Giadagie. It is a woman neat palm nut extract, Umra, a sign say, a babri soon, and what yaye, the Namki to a big power will burn no canata frozen. Neat palm extract, and that's a neat a banquine, near Ed Denny say, a more sham to say a banquine in him that noir, and a subios in your deal. What was a so more who no be so, Umra. Neat palm nut extract. Oh, come on. Now, only baby. What dear sound come with pad, I wouldn't need palm be a bear back on the slow midi dear, will be able to plumwa, who's me ho. Oh, what's so? May I am part of this and beer. You and your mom for Mupe and will be uncle supermarket. And you
FDA, I just said, you didn't crack to more to say a year.
Ejaba boni di adwa ma wubi eti ya menu afahin na mahie fufuo ti ase dada menya wofoi papa so be fie ni enwe fufuo ya asam aba na so oben wadi fufuo edi mpreni ne mpresa da kro be ye de ni ehie fufuo a akwade wonwane adwa mo adwuma se me ne fie adwuma di mini fufuo kakra ba o medie no ene wati me twama da pasa aso wo kan na matene nyira wati ate na make am mebo a ebo de odi komum na sese ade obra to otwa fufuo ai won wodwo pam na wo ma siu na wotimu aba na wo sadade na wo temfra kwada ne nyina tuatwa make say ya need food sadaroma wo bia mani ye pa
ya wa yam body fufu ni man kan fufu a wa ni powder no dey go that kama ya friend no need fufu fra
enya no bi na masori ba until izi kama me di ye yo
se bia
ma me hwe oh e bia need fufu fra eye kama say body fufu ni man kan fufu papa bi na wo ka say twan e posim na ede na me se wo ka so ento sima no mpe no wa wie no ahie wo kwa papa bi aguso
be chese de ama bani kura agi sa need fufu fra ho ama me ko to bi kura ba ne se de Ghana for sipom fufu no eno an wo ye nu enti se wo hwa fufu e won pam wo drom ni we nu a wo ho susuna bia wom wo nso de body ni man kan fufu papa bi
ejanie eni afi na fufu na afi na wo bedi pa ne se de wo bedi ne se ne wo fa mojaduro ana pawia ne anadwo a wo koda
need fufu fra supermarket bia mu need fufu fra e wo fi a eni gye nko a
FDA ahwehwɛ sɛ adwadie nkratoe mu agye atom sɛ ɛyɛ
Utie oha FRIMPONG no. Needs FM.
Neat 100.9 FM so any. Now and Monday, March 22, 2021. And time is about gone 34 minutes past 2. In the studios, Kafu Kojo, I'm a member of the National Communications Team of the MPP. Sasso and Ahmad Jibril of the also a former Deputy National Organizer of the NDC. So ever transit. A quick one. Kafu. Achimota School. Initially 89 a year and kwada one a share locks, dreadlocks of Rastafarian descent. Emma Ghana Education Service eso directe Achimota School the Omumfan Kwadano and the Parents Teacher Association. Old students of Achimota School are asking, say, GS into me, Emma Achimota School, and share woman so Omumfasa Ankolan. So we want to ask, say, Uko School be na ujia, now you're old student. What me can say, yet the young penny, yam far away, man in school, I'm query. We a parent, now Bako School be a him fan house with sim, I'm out to me, baby, say, media me bano. On Sherlock's na mempene Emma Aquadabi or Sherlock's do when you aggregate 6 a cram family me the mempene Emma Aquadano Emma that's go be a hair fana all students jina and a hair fana PTA jina in the light of the relationship between Ghana Education Service and say Achimota School and I say secondary schools.
Yo, offer me that say area so na me fa
I'm a teacher union for Nagrat so at the Omhua Babajim. So almost some penny. Sister GS, I can be beached a year at Chimota School.
Sure, offer
there will be a teacher new school or ye teacher in no right so Becca say yen dinner collabisa me a man schoolana. Into teacher for no omu teacher union air cano omu agent brand saying parents teacher association mujina brand saying a year old students mujina brand saying.
Yo family that say my main for the case you na menchia atiwa east men peswa so ene atiefo amutie neat fm ene awie no for the atia ne say o hwe the course ya na issue a edi say ye ka ho asem o hwe GS directives or the buy or the ma Achimota School offer the principles are right na ade no so untumi nka se u si ni triase ena de wo mu kese pa so ne se ofa emofre ko school a ye wo bibia ye fe no peer group and peer group no so no peer group influence ade bi a very much stronger because kwa obeko school mu ho eni ayonko fa obefa no ni nyina ya ade baako enti se ne na danfo entumi influence no free Rastafarian anymore he should be able to influence the person into his belief system. And therefore, I believe that yeko school, you know, for any yeko school, no, not principles that all. So about you akrano. So who secondary school? So chauti. There was nowhere no more allow am the permit obi a oboni teaching at yeko school. So these were rules and regulations that were there. Now for any old students, me alma mater of Ghana Secondary Kufudia. Now offer your coho, eko make sure say school no enkan kwani ni mpuntuo no ebeko nanim. Last year for instance, you donate dual dexes bebre di ma school no e make sure say mmofra no welfare because ofa yenyi a yekoye animu nyina no na ye ama mata no ye de hohoa ye ho ye de hohoa ye ho kosi say school we nti sometimes kwetoro bi a omo appointed headmaster kra no a eya na all students no ye wo control e kakra e wo mu kosi say control ye won ne say ye pese ye hwe say e bia headmaster mo fa na headmistress mo fa no owo school ni ho do owo student obetumi di school na konanim eno eti na ebasa all students association no so no yes you nya voice wom parents are also such that made me back to school now fire fa say sa LGBT asem ya ye kai say obi so ba no se manya 6 now this is my belief system freedom of religion freedom of association enu nti no dia me pese me ba no oye ni nti me de na ba could we also say ma bofra no kwa ma ne ma na what is wrong is wrong
mindful say unim the legal regime a govern LBGT in Sensemi
Ofantino yan fan ko sure
so what is the legal regime a govern obi a Rastafarian
so offer even o share we ya ye wo omemu ye wo traditionalist enti obi se me ba ye traditionalist ma bono nwere fitaa ma bono animu pada ma tu ye gu no ho wanya 6 ni belief system no no enti me de na best school mu would you say so manema
say obi atheist and answer obi a traditional believer or no da bia no say ode nwere fitaa ni fra
no ne nine on shampaboa o nwere fitaa pada bonu komu se de abubobo ni trim
then na same regime no secondary school should be under Ghana Education Service ebetimi aji obi a why dreadlocks now another school under Ghana Education Service ebeka say for whatever reason into another onye akwala why Rastafarian
so say offer and America say schools na you was saying even in as much as free SHS no air course no the schools na nkasa no all students association no had control over it
all students no omo control no every here
offer you see in the system whether it is formalized or informal no the informal have weight on the school because and America just say
now is it right say me all student into no my contribute to for the upkeep of the school into now me ye kabo money abeka say yempene ema we ma school ha
offer the internet maybe say make catch say what is right is right what is wrong because say obi oye atheist and a traditionalist say the abubo boni trim say obi school na catch me say o mane ma won ko twetwa saa se de ani nwu a then e ba ne say Rastafarian de obetumi de ne rasta no abe school
na ne rasta no does it affect our ability so be suya de
of it doesn't but you see in the Rastafarian culture which I don't know much but we believe say these are vegetarians then omo wo custom be say omo no herbs then nyame ehira so amom ino betumi use eti se onu ye nyame ehira herbs so ama no betumi use no hu ne say enye illegal na oba na o use a offer who teacher ni no betumi aka ho asem
na obi a vegetarian na no to no herbs na ye kusku da bia no you make exception for certain children a type of aduano mbedi
but beyond it also wo ni way ya obeye no fa no
you understanding of a Rastafarian is say they use herbs and they live on herbs
offer no need there and I make say I am not one so I do but I know that in them the few that I know around
it would be what we need to say you no mo yes sir
nka someone shamano maybe I say herbs and you know whatever the issue is that it is one of their belief system and once because something nyame ehira
but your mamene Child Rights International former executive director Ura Bright Appear enin komo na yen hwe say Ghana has say no specific laws ben na I hwe enkwada welfare especially cross so say e protect enkwada no na ensure say omu benya access to equal opportunity equal access to education provided here in Ghana na fe yemra me hwe specific issue about Achimota school Ura bright up here, Yamoha. Now, what is every when it be any has say? I no credit, but yeah, now, from afar, now, may observe all comments, no contribution to the issue of child protection and child welfare.
Oh, okay,
Good. Now, Mrabe na what Ghana has ever kind of say, it protected children. And as I mentioned, you can say a child who, how does the law define a child?
Children's Act, it defines who a child is. And I can't say a Caribbean will be below the age of 18 years. So, that's the general.
It did a cut-off point in 18 years of age.
Yeah, cut-off point in 18 years of age.
Oh.
You know, if you are below that, above that, the law gives you your liberty.
Right. In the specific laws being and a protected children, my way say na my children equal access, equal opportunity to educational, especially educational facilities.
Yeah, there are a number of laws guaranteeing those rights. But the Constitution, which gives which spells out the rights of children, especially when it comes to education. And then also the mandate our Constitution in the Parliament to have legislation that will specify specific things that is the Yabankora. And the Constitution is one. And about Children's Act, also our Parliament, about there. And also, and then the allied the Children's Act, and also, give details in terms of even how we should conduct ourselves, our behavior, the arrangement that is for the Bonkora. And within this framework, and it to be guaranteed, and it's and Kora, right. Now, the enjoyment of rights of Ankorano, it is purely based on a welfare principle. And issues of welfare, it is what guides the way and manner we treat children in this country.
It's not just saying Quadano welfare is of paramount.
It's of paramount. It's bullshit to the welfare principle. It says that the best interest of children must always be protected in all matters that concern the child. And that is the premise for which we look at rights of a child. And if there is any other right that will not let children enjoy their full rights, then the welfare principle, the interest of Enkorano should supersede any other law.
It here can it say Obanu Okunukra in a divorce petition and Quadano welfare superseded that of the interest of Obana and Asa Bermana or Mujawariano.
Recently, by divorce, most of the things that the court will show concern about, but whenever there is a child involved, another is an issue, the court is interested in how the parent would want to settle the matter. And then if the court is satisfied with it, even if it is on the basis of that, then the court would agree the terms and conditions with the court. So the court has played that role critically in the management of children's rights in this country. And me says we have to espouse every angle of our outbreak towards the Quran. And this program, now there are certain words here another the program, and there will be people and Quran will be listening to it at that particular time. Then, per the welfare principle, that program has been hosted at the time. Children will have limited access to it, so that you engage me to program to pollute their minds in terms of the use of words and all that. It is a fair principle. That's what we want to use to guide our children.
Is it possible, say, parent to Krana Wawu or no one bano? may be prohibited from say obekini akwala no.
Exactly. And even with the welfare principle, no, say you don't have absolute design control over Aquarano. The state has a share in taking decisions that will be beneficial to the welfare of Aquarano.
I just said the state has a joint responsibility.
A joint responsibility, exactly. That is the word. Even the responsibility of the parent is defined by the state.
That is where you have the social welfare dedicated to the protection and care of children.
Exactly. The constitution itself recognize the family system is the basic unit for the development of children. That is how our constitution is premising the argument on. And I will introduce you the welfare system. So from the word go, the state has really defined who the family is and what they can do at what material time. You cannot just leave anything in the hands of the family to decide that there's a woman and my be best, and I'm here and I'm in school, and I'm here and I'm
I just say it is the law even frowns upon say parent because say one day they went to one school.
No, and it's a crime. And man so more and nobody be
Na just say be kakre na just say ye betie ni say wa wo bakra no under 18 no akwada no betimi a raise legal right to say and say one okwafu because she may be or he may be engaged in child labor.
It is perfectly so. It is perfectly so.
Now, if say your culture, do we appreciate it?
No, we do because OSHA Children's Act now. Who is there? The way I drafted Children's Act, it was as a result of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, universally in the year 82. If you share that document now, it says in promoting the right of Emperano, the cultural context must also be to be considered in terms of the way we want to raise our children and the things that we want to do to them. But the issue that came there, those cultural practices should not be harmful to the Emperano. Any cultural practices that will not have any negativity that would affect the welfare of Emperor is allowed. We have addressed all these things in our legislation. I don't think that would even be an issue. The current laws, are downplaying our cultural system.
Say if the state has joint responsibility with your child, nipa ne bebre enhunu state no supporter or de emma akwada no sentia constructively ye can say or no joint responsibility with the parent no may say me na me ma akwala na aduane di ye me na metu akwala na fees state no dia na oya ye betimi a construe no say state no so responsibility no what discharge it.
You see, state, sometimes because, for instance, state has introduced what we call free compulsory basic education. And we decided from the primary level to primary 6, education will be free. From the SHS level, education is free. And to some extent, the state has discharged its responsibility. Again, OSHA, this is assembly for a responsibility that they want for us. It is clear that for everyone, this is now say Awufono is not in a better condition to take care of Akorana. Then the responsibility of Akorana becomes that of the district assembly. And the MI has even spelled out the processes that the assembly must go through to satisfy that condition. Say Akorano and the state of the family, they can't take care of Akorano. Then the state district assembly must take up the responsibility of providing education for that particular child.
Assembly bank and our employ social workers. Assembly bank and our refuge for a Sankwada way. So if the church through the assembly were to be engaged in discharging their responsibility, who can't discharges our responsibility, giving social welfare, Kurano, DNA,
and it shows that we are not really taking issues of welfare of Ankorano into a certain degree, be a respect those rights. Anything I'm about the time you will be there, your panel and oh yeah. Because assemblies we say, Anka, one of their basic responsibilities is that social order that they have to create so that children do not become abnormal people in society. But it's our responsibility, most of the assemblies, so sure more plans of any but I think matters of this nature, no, it would help us to also let people know that that is guided and fully clothed with the law. Into the
Enti akwadaa do betumi anya assistance be it legal on the basis say the parents atimi
Yes.
absorb more responsibilities over him and his legitimate expectation say the state should take over and the state through the assembly is not doing anything and that a court of say competent jurisdiction should compel the state to take responsibility over him or her on the basis that the parents are abdicating on responsibilities.
Exactly. That can be established. If the established investigation has gone on, they have established the family is not capable of taking care of Aquarano. The state says that we should give it a district assembly. So if they are not discharging that duty, then any child in Ghana can bring action against the state. This is what is happening to you. And the state is supposed to do ABCD, and they are not doing it.
And the state is not more or less taking any population management policy beer to deter or discourage people from having children. At age 16, she's the third of 9 children of her mother. Now with this 16, and of course secondary school, or day school, I want Krahasi, and I am mote ahafu. And ya no mama ne papa taxi driver na ne maame so bodwa na ya no mama ne man ne kakrakra and nsuo si ne tiri so a oton nsuo no wo ame nkroma secretary ha sei and na okọ one round bia na onyamfa so 2 cities okọ one round bia into ultimate maximum of 5 rounds for the day and then na wa gain wa earn 10 cities na wo de akwa akọhwe no ho e school na obi anka hwe nkyere maame ne papa say motu na mawo pore enkono saa.
You see, I know that if the state is able to discharge their basic responsibility towards the Quran, then the state will be empowered to also regulate a population growth. Because at the end of the day, who say, Ebia, Upeke, Awupona, or Muwa, about 30% will not be in a position to take off for anything. Indeed, that becomes a responsibility. And when you are able to do proper statistics and collect data to know the trend of development, you will be able to control population and then make sure that whatever capacity of the state is, you can still live it so that every single child in Ghana will be very comfortable. Because I mean, Akora, here you are said your Bemuha, your Mra, the Bobrano, and Kansas Arabia, Esther Sadionka, and not something you want for Arabia, even during school hours and all that. But it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in some of these things. But gradually, I believe that one day we'll get there. But we need to also push the state to do what is expected of them.
A specific issue of Achimota School purportedly denying children of Rastafarian descent the opportunity to enroll and subsequent public direction from the Ghana Education Service. Say one enko. What are the arguments in support of Achimota School, and what are the arguments against the position of Achimota School?
This particular case, is a bit dicey in a sense that there is a clash between school regulations, rights of children, and then the freedom of fundamental freedoms of people. And what we need to look at is among these three, what is a substantive right of every child? And in this case, I will conclude that it is the right to education. The other right of freedom, other jurisdictions have determined what will constitute fundamental freedom or in terms of religious belonging and another association. And then what also constitutes a lifestyle of people. And they have determined and made a clear case on that. And even Nyayake, I just was Kenya now in 2019, Kenyan court was confronted with the same issue where Akora Yaman admission, you are locating the class amano. Now yasamano, the body baby or better, maybe every other thing that the state must do were put in place. And at school you can say or Akora. So the case traveled to the Supreme Court of Kenya. And the Kenya Supreme Court they can say the Constitution did not define religion. However, the practice, if somebody is a Rastafarian, that person belongs to a religious association. And more dreadlock, and other people who belong to other belief systems that more dreadlock and also be a Rasta constitute the lifestyle. So the principle for which we need to guide them has to do with the fact that is it on the basis of lifestyle or is it on the basis of religion? In this particular case, it is clear that Aquarano, the makeup, it is not because the child wants to have it, but it's because of a religious belief that has made him to have that kind of hair. And the basic question that we also need to ask is, for him to keep that hair, what would that do to that particular child? Is it going to affect the learning of the child? Is it also going to affect the social interaction of the child? If you are able to answer these questions, then clearly we can come to the conclusion that the rules of the school must stand. But so far as we are concerned here, the rights of children must be respected, and any other thing that would impede the substantive right of every child must be looked at again, because the law provides that the best interest of children must always be paramount. So in this case, if there's a class within the substantive right of a child as compared to school rules, what do you think should supersede the other? We need to do a lot of thinking in order to arrive at certain conclusion before we say that
now, in this instance, do we know in exact what Achimota School is saying anti Omudi Dina Kwalano enrollment?
Almost is a school rule. And what we have also realized is that most of the secondary schools, they don't have a well documented rules and regulations. Most of them are governed by convention. If you are the governing board, we decided then they apply it without necessarily looking at the welfare of our parents, the rights of children. If they only do it to either protect the dignity of the school or the image of the school, rather than the school itself, positioning itself to provide the dignity for children and then respecting the privacy of children. So
see, you can let us say Achimota School just about said say for rules and enrolling Kwalan, but they were not specific as to which aspect of the rule, what exactly is the rule saying?
Exactly. Most of them are conventions. Almost the schools are more documented rules and regulations. AABI forming in 1960, 1970, and we are still operating it in the context of this modern society that we live. That is why somebody will just come and say that children should not use technological gadgets in schools. And we know very well that technology is advancing each and every second. How do our children keep updated when it comes to technology?
It not just a colloquia bisa.
Exactly. And there must be a review. If you will share a press conference, not that for the idea that we espouse, sometimes it's unfortunate that we find ourselves in those situations. But all these people derive their efficacy from the Constitution. For that matter, they can have authority to speak the way they are speaking. If the same Constitution has guaranteed children their right to education, and then you tell me that the school rules to
Auntie, you can remember that of other stakeholders are almost parents teacher association, old students, even employees. In this instance, Nagra to Okasano, just an employee. When Obi Eco School, no kuta constitutional right that guarantees the right to education. Step Robin and an employee of the school, ebet me a place one penema kwadanema. Robin and a former student of the school, ebet me a place or makwalanema. Robin and a parent ne ba ewo school hobby, ubet me dear Gina Swakas or Masakwalano, Emma.
You see, those OSHA, the NAGA, they are employee of the system. Parents, partners, or they partner the school for the training of Munkora. And the old student association also have some level because they feel that they are rooted in the school because school need training. And if you combine all these two groups, their responsibility towards a school, it is social. It has no legal authority in invoking certain things. It's social. The one with the authority, the governing board of the school, and then Ghana Education Service, because that environment was mandated by the Constitution for the training of the Ankara. So if there is anything in that environment that must be of a priority, it must be that which would give children capacity. And that would be our primary consideration. And this Ankara, it is premised on social welfare. So what then do you make argument say because it doesn't add up. If there is anything that we need to do in respect of the law, then let's revise the law. Then we know that you are on to be school. But
And as here can say a white person with long hair, eba Achimota school. Yeah,
Yes, and you see, what they are even doing in Ukraine, it is not universal. And I say it's not national. Let's be put it that way.
Other schools are Accra Academy or Ukes.
They allow it. So it should tell you that most of the schools that are invoking the so-called rules and regulations, they are doing it on the basis of conventions. Not necessarily that these are things that have been documented and have been vetted and has been approved by Ghana Education Service. They are purely conventional principles that they are engaging in. And those are really there. I don't even want to look at that. But you see, the opportunity has presented itself. And I strongly believe that since there is a diverse opinion on this particular matter, I strongly believe that the court, it will settle all these issues.
Nah, there's an aspect of it where say, as someone, old students, old Achimotans Association, Professor Ernest Aite, I think he's a former vice chancellor of the University of Ghana. Or in a notice to members, are saying say, we are concerned about the breach of Achimota School's governance and regulations, and that they've written to the Ghana Director General of Ghana Education Service requesting him to withdraw the directive. I mean, technically, request is not an order. And say you are
Exactly.
they are making a request. Now, who say, what the Ekokoma Ghana Education Service almost say a year school's governing system is being undermined, but not necessarily Akwadakron Warbano, the Rastafarian, the dreadlocks, impacting negatively or adversely on say yes,
You see, look at and compare or these are people who, at a point, were championing human rights values in this country. But once they find their children in that school, now their concept of human rights has changed. Yes, we understand that. Actually, that's school and that's a very some semi-autonomy. The formation of the governing council and all that, they have given us some authority to regulate the school. there are a lot of things that they can do. Maybe the state will have little to do about it. That is why I feel that they say the things that they say, and they want to protect the school instead of encouraging. GS, Achimota is under GS, and GS has employed every other single person to work in that environment. And if they are asking them to do ABC, I don't think that anybody will have that authority to ask them there. Even in the form of a request there, they should withdraw those sanctions. If they have any issues with it, they should go to court. And for me, what the GS has done has demonstrated a basic responsibility towards the welfare of Ekpara. And I respect them for taking this particular decision. If there's any other thing that we feel there,
But do we know, Mr. Bratapia, do we know rules by a Ghana Education Service so rely on in directing Achimota School to admit Nkwadani Mino?
They are very clear on rules, because OSHA and the code of Emra Omodidi Jumana, mandate of GS. It is clear that when the mommy enter member paraphrase the Kaka, that they will provide education for all Ghanaian children, irrespective of tribe, gender, disability, and even religious or political affiliation. But they will do it on the basis of equality in providing quality education for the Ghanaian child. That is their objective.
And then Achimota School is also saying, say, you would and I say, Kokope School Fufro. Na say for 3 years, why are dreadlocks? Now we would dreadlocks no for 3 years, sir. Say after 3 years, I person fubi mana.
Of course, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change anything. That the decision of taking off the rasta, no, and I say keep it, I know it is what I would call convenient. If the school authority give it no one can tell the year. But the school cannot compel the child to say the OG.
Oh, so the school can advise or can request of the parents the munyimubaniti.
That is why we even said, at least Munja Grano Pen. And now Munya Upon Trans in Amokantum said, these are the rules and regulations. So you negotiate that in the context of the school environment.
And look, so who can't say Munya Kolaripes, it brings to mind to say computer selection you place you in this school now. It does not necessarily mean say you have been admitted to that school.
Of course.
Of course. It didn't take a computer and can place you in that school, but upon further and as upon presenting yourself, you may be denied the opportunity.
Of course.
Hey.
Although the school has that authority to be doing certain things, but you don't compel them to say you would think without even, you see.
But do we even know, Mr. Bratapia of Charles Rice International, do we know, say, from the Rastafarian sect, whether Obi in Rasta Noah, a DNBC?
That is why I am saying that. What there is the religious belief, people have. I don't have issues with that. I don't have issues with that. But what I'm saying is that what would be the effect of the child keeping the hair, and what would be the effect for not keeping the hair? These two bodies, Omuna is a more contract. So you need to sit down and negotiate. But where one says me, the other one says for you, and the welfare of the child is at stake in this matter. I have an issue with that. The parents in the country, there is a religious belief. Someone in our court has gone further to say that even if religious belief
Yeah. There's a religious sect.
Exactly. But the Ghanaian court has further to say that no. When it comes to the welfare of the child, it has less to do with religious affiliation. But once an act will take the life of a child, it is the responsibility of the state to save the life of a child. In this, I will doctor be not a paraba, not to hear muja, not a muja, or the man never to go ahead and do it. The state will protect you. There are a lot of cases that we've gone beyond even institutional regulations, religious belief system to establish what the state wants for the welfare of our child. That is what we should be concerned about. Once we take the child out, and then we begin to fight regulatory issues, we begin to fight religious issues, then we should know that we are not advancing the progress of the child. We are just only playing a dancing chair and thinking that we are protecting our religion or we are protecting the dignity of our school. But that is not it. The environment is dedicated for the training of Yankora, and that should be our ultimate.
What then becomes your reaction to another story of an 18-year-old traditional priest who has been denied admission to Jose Penny Senior High School? What no, you kind of saying?
No, it's all within the same context. But the other issues that we also have to look at there are certain a year that becomes harmful. If in that context,
because obi betimi aba be rasta watch matter school dia obi so kokom e wo George Penny Senior School dia me ma ne kokom.
And then I believe that Yama Yamran is there, but maybe once your activities will not impede the progress of another person in environment, maybe will not, and we know that.
It is a Jessa traditional priest 18-year-old yes so mesne enko George Penny Senior High School. They say a common so fan so that's what come headmaster by day. It's ultimate years at no come no aba.
But environment the child should be accepted irrespective of whoever is. But if it comes to certain activities, would impose threat to other people, I don't think that should be allowed. But to deny the child on the basis of I don't think that this should even be an issue. But you wouldn't mean that or compare now better to them. No, I don't think that. That is why even within our public schools, your uniform and almost educational school. Those are the things that we can streamline, but it should not be the basis to deny the child its right to education.
So let's ask again. All students of Achimota School, no proprietary right ben was almost do man betu be say Ghana Education Service and withdraw.
It's social, and I don't think that we should entertain that. We all know the role that all student associations play in our educational system, and they should stay within their limits and provide assistance for the welfare of Ankara in the school. Yes, but I don't think that we should. This should be something that we should even talk about. They've made a request. It's up to Ghana Education Service to decide whether or not they want to accept that request.
Na employees so they do baby a normal review recent time here airport company employees say MD and into we are employed to come and do teacher forces say I didn't know Ghana Education because with them employees from relationship with state agencies, especially when there are children involved now. Yeah, now or more access to quality advice on the course of action open to them now.
You see, we have allowed a certain act to persist for a long time. And reversing it comes with its own implications and all that. And share employer and employee relationship. It should be purely based on fairness. But and that employee be decided, said I will cancel on your juma. 1 year we are being here. And you know, it has muddied the waters in terms of the relationship that exists between the two. Some have that power of negotiation, but I think that it should be exercised in a manner that do not affect the very cause they've been employed to do. And you know, if you are a teacher, you see, elsewhere, if you are trained as a social worker, a clinical psychologist, your basic responsibility is to the work. But yes, now the basic thing that we all fight for has to do with the welfare issues concerning the work that we do, without necessarily focusing on the very mandate that have been given to us to work. And you know, I'm not here, and you know, when sometimes they're a bit difficult for me to talk about it because I have my own opinion on some of these issues and all that. But I believe that let's have a focus on our core mandate and what it is that if things that we've been trained for as teachers, we have to live the dreams and aspiration of that.
Right. For now, you better was say na the way forward. So your legitimate expectation say Nkwadano would be admitted at Achimota School. But in the event GAS were to more or less somersault and Achimota School is then allowed having to avoid undermining the school authority and GAS then somersaults na Achimota School and Nkwadana, can we see Child Rights International supporting such children to test the law now?
Any day I can promise you that. I can promise you. If the current education service decides to renege on the directive that is issued, I can promise you that we will go to court. Any day I can promise you that 100%.
Now, such instances, so yeah, now support new free him for a child right team amount to legal challenge on children's issue.
Yeah, well, there are two ways that we can look at it. One is to get the support of the parents, because in this case, because you are not directly affected by this human rights issue. Your constitution, most of the human rights issues, you must be affected by it before you can bring a cause of action, unless maybe you are going for interpretation and it's on your man. The public to team up to look at this. We will do so, and where we also think there is a matter of interpretation, there is a public interest case. Why not? We will also pursue that from that angle, and then whatever the cost is, we will abide by it. I believe in our court system. Into whatever they say, we would also abide by it.
Right. You better was ora bright up here. Until bright up here, Anna or the Abakafui. Then it appears as a GS in Nimnobon Humusu, not as an junior. They will mount a legal challenge. Now, in such instance, now we go through the legal processes. And now say you bet general school in the interim. And now you bet then
offer. I think child rights we now offer wakasa. But then I believe say school be the structures for the year juma. In as much as it's a public school. The reason why until I start make say old students
Komfuakodano or see a general
sharp.
Na
say a general Rastafarian dey beji Komfuakodano. But your office near Tungo so you so.
I love this. Can we? Not your headmaster to your combat.
Near Tungo so you so.
No Okutabodia. Ma Yanko, there's this gentle Rastafarian, in fact, who has been that instrumental in my rise to become one of the broadcasters at ADAKABRI. In fact, he was my programs director from the year 2003, and then mentored me till 2010. A year multimedia. Ba Accra, a fan of Aduma FM. He's in a person of Ahuma Bosco.
Okay.
Your friend Daddy B.
Okay.
Maradona.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that is today.
Obviously.
Great. Rastafarians.
What
is it about? You can't Rastafarian any day.
Okay, the woman said, so bet you say, yeah, he has a Uber fapping, and now the genesis of Rastafari. Rastafari doctrine no started with Caribbeans because Yemi no more ever found in their quest to identify with Africa. They chose the vehicle of Rastafari, courtesy of the coronation of Haile Selassie in 1930. In the Rastafari, then Yanuma Yadi Omukoano, Omupeso feel African, and Rastafari is the vehicle that offers them that opportunity to identify with Africa.
And what then became reason here almost dreadlocks?
Dreadlocks, no matter from two perspectives. First perspective, no, your Judeo-Christianity. What's your Bible more? Most of the holy people in the Bible, no, they were dreadlocks.
Most of the holy people in the Bible wore the locks.
Dreadlocks, because who can say Samson? You be saying say we 2 minutes, Jinaden, NOC, Mitri, who can John the Baptist? You see now on Trinity. Prophets say Elijah and they were described as Nazarites who kept their hair as a sign of their covenant with God. And then we back in Bibi Bremu, all the holy people of our culture, they still come for not no we better. So dreadlocks have two pillars. You can look at them from either the traditional religious perspective or the Christian perspective.
Oh. And does it matter at a point in time? Say Obi trying drex now, person who for say a period of 3 years. Does it have any effect on the belief system, Anna?
To a large extent, personal correct is police, you can either be CID or you can be a policeman in uniform. So what you say?
Yes.
In this we police are we show uniform. So we call baby now we show uniform. Next year we police.
It's not just wearing the dreadlocks no denotes your membership of the Rastafarian set.
That is the outward expression of your faith. In Igbo, nobody can force you to shed your expression of your faith. Because the expression of your faith is part of your faith, it's part of your religion.
So what's your understanding of Ghanaians appearing to have a kind of a phobia on Omo Champese?
With all humility and respect, I would say it is a demonstration of the crass ignorance. Because say we come on campuses, in hospitals, in law courts, among for graduates or juma. We call New York, they say, I'm a policeman or a dreadlock. We call New York, they say, and I will call Washington, and I will call Atlanta, they say, or software or so in dreadlock. It is a misguided, myopic, and primitive notion that dreadlocks or anything African is not right. It stems from the Eurocentric perception. The believer far. Not to say, or Peruvian hair, and now she Brazilian hair, and now I'm bleaching, and now she false eyelashes, and now she false fingernails. This thing or this attitude towards dreadlocks, it stems from our denial of things African and our embracing of things Eurocentric.
So, time Rastafarian community, it is two otherwise brilliant students who had been placed at Achimota School and subsequently have been denied admission. How did the community take it?
Oh, we were infuriated. We were so disappointed. There in the 21st century, with such enlightenment, and Ghana proclaiming ourselves as a middle-income nation, no, we have such primitive notions. I mean, we were so disappointed.
And to the extent that Ghana Education Service, others accusing them of being populist, came out saying, say, directing Achimota School to admit the 2 kids. Now we have the a former vice chancellor of a university who is the chairman of the parents, chairman of the Old Students Association, requesting the GES to do a U-turn on the basis that that public directive undermines authority and governance of the school, and then employers who are technically named teachers are also saying, say, woman tears yes because Enquadano admit to Machimata school. The 2 stakeholders, how do you see their reaction towards that way?
And you can be about prejudice and myopia, so that our values of what is fine, what is acceptable, is based on Eurocentric notions of acceptability, such as here. So our whole system of appreciation is based on Eurocentric notions. Into the Obiko class school, not India, or not, or share Peruvian hair, and now baby. And you know the sad and funny thing.
Tell
My
us.
friends were telling me, say, headmistress, no, or about you know, Kasanu, or share fake hair.
That is what
And
that is what you are led to believe, and I say as a fact.
No, I didn't watch her, but that's what I hear. It may not be true, but it goes back to what I'm saying. Say, your societal value system, we need to do a wholesale appreciation of that or evaluation, because your notions of acceptability are based on Eurocentric standards. Then anything African will be seen as an anathema. So I said, because
Yes.
for Professor Agite to come and make those statements, Prof, originally, I respect my whole lot of respect for him, but I think on this he got it wrong.
Because there are. Did you say that? Say a pastor, a policeman, and a student in the USA are wearing locks?
When you say Biden, the advisor on black relations, or a Ghana, what documents be on the need for people not to be discriminated against based on their hair. The interview we are do our link.
Okay, we will look at it. But there are some persons in London listening to us, and they've sent material. September 12, 2018, the Guardian newspaper brought a story. School that told boy to cut off dreadlocks backs down. And then there's another one carried by the BBC. Also say Fulham schoolboy dreadlocks ban overturned.
Because you see, anyway, but the whole world is moving a certain way. So discrimination against children on the basis of their religion or religious beliefs is a thing of the past. Because in Colombia, 6 A's, 9 A's. That means they are top range students. What does their locks, how does their locks affect the ability to learn?
So you said others were ignorant of what the Rastafarian faith is about. It may be you are also failing to appreciate. Now we have another student in Georgia Penny Senior High School who has been denied admission on the basis or no, so 18-year-old no, or your comfort or your fetish priest. What are your thoughts on that?
When indeed, the Constitution is clear: do not deny any young person access to education based on their religion. It is no traditional priest, and until now also make dreadlocks. No, the school has no business rejecting his entry.
Then let me read this over to you and see whether you have any response to this, my friend at La. It's called Lord. He goes, look, until 25 years, when your parents have prepared you for the future through university, the child has no rights. All rights of a child are rightfully reserved in the parents. Look, a dreadlock rasta orientation differs from non-dreadlock. So how can you mix up at the school? And most importantly, if the child is not a fetish as a plain to the school authorities, therefore we must respect the Achimota school decisions as the standard. So he is saying that you do not have any right at a point as a child, and for that matter, a child wearing dreadlocks and those not wearing dreadlocks have different orientation and should not be mixed.
No. For me, I don't buy that. All children are children. If that child was from planet Mars, how could he pass the exam so well? That argument is neither here nor there. If somebody is underage, that person is under the control and direction of their parents. And he said, "Me papa say me kramoni, me banu besum kramoa." Who are you to say that child shouldn't be a Muslim?
Could it be that we are of the erroneous impression, being an ignorant lot in thinking, say, all Rastafarians abuse the weed, Anna?
Oh, wouldn't it be? That's a whole other argument. Last year, by now, 20th March, and a parliament passed legislation on hemp. Yekasa Nanado see of a Ghana beyond aid. How will the country generate revenue if, for instance, with nations making money from the green gold, either as medicine or as raw material for industrial use or for recreational purposes? Not Ghana. You see, Ghana beyond aid. And then we are not going to take advantage of the green gold. You see, last year, Parliament passes that bill. No? We were excited. And those are the things the nation needs to do. We need a serious rethink about cannabis. We need a serious rethink. Because for Obama to put it on record that he has smoked cannabis before, for Clinton to put it on record that he has smoked cannabis before, but they all rose to become president of the biggest economy in the world. You know? We need to rethink that that old notion. You say there's already be some power. If somebody using cannabis is deranged or a psychopath or we need to rethink these primitive notions.
Primitive it may be, but others are of the view, say, we appear to detest LBQTI or whatever, but we are patronizing Rastafarians. And it's like, hey, where is this coming from?
Let me say something. LGBTQ is something detested by the Bible. Now let's deal with the Christians and those so-called hypocrites. LGBT, the Bible they worship or the Bible they use frowns against it. Dreadlocks, the Bible upholds it. So what's the basis of the argument? Unless maybe they don't read the Bible well.
So how do we overcome our ignorance?
It is by being open-minded and listening to intellectually adept broadcasters like ADAKABRI, who will approach issues with an open mind and expose all the facts for the good people of Ghana to make informed decisions.
Right. Inti some person me Rastafarian, I'll join the Rastafarian faith. How do I go about it?
Oh, you want to be a Rastaman? You need to get real with yourself as an African. Because the fundamental premise of Rastafari, from the 1930s, the people wanted to feel African. So you need to be aligned with your Africanness. That's the first thing. Because Rastafari is an expression of African culture. then you start appreciating. To be a true Rasta man, I have to be true to myself. I have to value African principles. And you learn, because at this time, there's no end to at this one. Then you will see yourself living up as a Rasta man.
And do I need to become a vegetarian? And would Achimota School be able to do vegetarian veggies for Nkwadano?
Yeah, one man said, "Me kai time I made back something called St. Martin's. Although it wasn't dreadlock, nearly every week or every month we take food to the child. So if a child is a vegetarian on campus, the parents can have an arrangement with the kitchen and say, well, this is what our child is. So please, this is what you can serve them. If the parents need to supplement whatever the kitchen has, I'm sure they will gladly do that."
Quite interesting speaking to you. Ahuma Bosco. Into how it goes. But then, what do you think is going through the little kid's mind?
Okay, one thing I know for a fact is, as a dreadlock, they're used in society looking at them a certain way. Because I remember when I was in high school, applying with my dreadlocks, I know how the school looked at me. I know how the teachers looked at me. I know how my peers looked at me. So, Obia, while your dreadlocks from the collar, we will be used to these things. And that is one of the things that challenges these children to excel.
Oh, so it may be because almost 3 and a
Of course. Because Apollo Bajin said, "Into me, 6 days. My trusting will be I say no more treating. Omuma mi kwa make sure almost there. I drink a friend
And then we have a dreadlocks first year student of the Osei Tree Secondary School who says, "I would rather quit school rather than to cut my dreadlocks." Quite an emphatic statement from the young boy.
Yes, because say or no or school or who say the teacher no or she Peruvian hair. Or false eyelashes or no point Yamano coin. How much more no okra in natural dreadlocks?
Quite interesting. But then we are open to great things, and you are suggesting, say, we should be open-minded in going forward.
Thank you.
Right. Ahuma Bosco, ni wandabushiwa.
Okay, should I be ADAKABRI? All the best.
Right. Ahuma Bosco Kansi. I mean, he's a great gentleman. Now, over 10 years as a program director with multimedia. It is Sankiyamana and Kusku and Kadinivis.
We are sure so Kusku no on sharing the rocks. Who be son of catch because those times ADAKABRI and yeah go through all system 1 to 5 course this form no. Sanya we now to me from and you know me feel say your discipline you to me money my form. And from what he's saying with all humility, all relating it to Bible. Say Bible mu no mo form believe in you we any free. If you are picking it from that old ancient days, this time round the child wants education. Why do you want to deny him that education?
We have
because of his
tweet
tradition
from a TV station purportedly suggesting the headmistress at the Achimota School, after a crunch meeting on Monday with the regional director of education and the Ghana Education Service, stated that the school will not compromise on its school rules and will only admit the students if they take up their dreadlocks.
100%. That I sat with the headmistress 100%. And discipline, you see,
it's a headmistress and say, nipa tuntum bia osi wo mbaka de
nipa tuntum de said ADAKABRI
no no wait tuntum na de akopon ho
ADAKABRI say no akopon ho dia no de different case. Well, but you see, rules
so you are
rules.
telling your regional director, so also rules are rules. Regional director is somewhat the embodiment of the rules governing Ghana Education Service, any employees, any schools, in the Greater Accra region, and your regional director is reiterating to you, say Giaqualana. You tell your regional director say, on basis of rules, settle school.
Are we breaking down discipline or we are upholding discipline?
What What your boss go no? Would anything change at all if those children are admitted?
You see, nothing will change, but rules and disciplines must be adhered because baby o free bano a belief system. And his belief system, nobody is frowning on it. But no tie that Bosco no. When the bill was passed for weed, you realize that he was happy. And he said, "Frasa, papa, training how to smoke weed."
Why do you think, sir? Uncle actually almost said you seen no weed.
Oh, Adakabi, I come away and home.
Oh, come on, one cancer.
Oh, Adakabi, catch and say green gold. I see it to me harvesting in green gold.
There was also Pagana beyond 8.
And
our green gold to a when green gold to a time. What green gold? A person a table. Na kwakwa harvest with green gold. Never kwakwa na enchini ya mfanchini ko pesca.
Adakabi me call Holland ne fekeke. Say green gold you to me duan wo fie oba koni. Kakra bi o na wa abontin na wo pam. Me kodu onam say eh minia na say we dey o man ya otiti wo mo he dey. The baba Ghana no was system tirase. Because green gold there and I'm street is nyina na Adakabri if that is the way we want to go. Headmistresses wan fane na ye si for mo a green gold mo frai. But in the office no ma bebu bunisum.
Tell us what so fane there do no be din.
You see, and you know, maybe I feel say, if the children wants to be in school, if the children wants to be in school, then their hair must come down because a man a chrome bomuti, or my extension, sending an old Brazilian hair. Some may who cost a catch us a cosanuti.
But the headmistress and the teachers may be wearing Peruvian hair.
Well, or no ye headmistress and teacher or chirawadi. The teacher watch chirawadi and I feel never heard a Peruvian hair. Ono ne born a life akopeni akwachire ni kunu no wo a wo betre school ma achira de no
Jagos from Ensoam. I think Ghana Education Service has taken the right step to order Achimota School to take those two dreadlocks students. No one can deny anyone's right in this country unless our constitution says so. Rastafarians are also citizens, so why must a school fail to admit them? All because they are Rastafarians. They are all equally citizens, like all the citizens, and GES must sack the headmaster of the Achimota School for taking that decision by not admitting the boys in the first place. Until I say, mark my words, Achimota headmistress will be sacked.
But Adakabri, even if they sack her, she will be a hero.
For what reason?
Because she stands for the principles. That this is discipline, and I'm holding to discipline. If because of that, she loses her job, I tell you, I'll heroize that woman. Yes, because Adakabri,
I didn't know a crack a bit me a Rastafarian, or say tribute me a Rastafarian. What is about Achimota School to me Rastafarian? A crack I below. And Achimota,
and the home
a crack academy, and Achimota school.
School.
It's the station.
Academy in school, the station.
What? I got to your boys' school.
And I will see your miss school.
And I will see your miss school. When that beast, no, now. And one more did a sausage in a bacon, and the English school canoe. My sister won't to me and now parent work or support to Frano with the dear new baby. That's stress ya who come me. Stress ya who for no do who from any. I say it is wrong for a school to accept a student with locks. Peer pressure is at stake. The peer pressure say Obiana. Obet me influence Obano. Because some Obano, Adakabri, I'm not here war school. Nasa and lesbianism, yet time now Adakabri ho. And it was peer pressure. No, yet dear friend lesbianism, and they're not supi. Yes, I won't continue. I know about Supino. I'm the Baba woman. What you are in the moon of Woody. You're just supiniade. What is that? Eti, Usku Madakra. Where are you now, Fano? No, you're superior. As I want to. Eh, who better be you know what, Danny? What Danny are you doing? Oh, I'm saying, yeah, who be boying and said the boss could kind. It may be say ignorant of the effect. Because Achimota school was DN parenting of a on
naturally, obi a washe locks biano. Yeah, wo.
Achimota school, what me appoint. Achimota school, what me appointed rules or my idea to and no appointed rule, no provision. I was say, obi will locks at me and you
keep a decent hair and let your hair
so
down.
Who is to suggest to say, obi a Rastafarian and nitrinia?
And I make us say decent. Any hair must be down. Inti kocha utina utimra form. Opa unko bubu locks no so. Na emra form. ADAKABRI aba form to say the ebi kura no ahwe ne locks.
Yeah, but my headmistress be atena se aka say mempene emwe nyi say.
Media me feel say ADAKABRI, the right thing is what the headmistress is doing. And then see a percent discipline cause your schools no more. These things must be upheld. Even a crack academic crab be omodi afa no. And some can wo. Yan can say obi e mo be follow through ni we na then na
yentie me nua ba ko e wo London and what do we say about yentie what is got to say yentie
ADAKABRI but you be so run over studio say Ebra Chief Justice actually Mr. White say on she suit no more tie mra court no ogene hoden number 1 number 2 Obekaya maybe by 10 years ni lecture be war University of Education whenever we say ni be students our one in math class ni na no woba lectures are one more time from famra bisane say ogene hoden. And then there was St. Peter's Catholic Church as a bibisa Wapedu Cape Coast Honosono Roman Sofo was a miana word what basoli no one so one shen tarim kata one year on famra or gonna hoden. Senia yedi young Viasnerico or young Krumono. ADAKABRI ya too dogmatic and too parochial and too prejudicial. ADAKABRI and we are restricting a lot of people. Near here, near she would depend team. Near a walk not dream. ADAKABRI will run say on another time I will go school now. Won't me yes I remind. Look at all these things, rules near home where false piety and I'm gonna ask Shabonia Kos Ghana. ADAKABRI Shabonia Kos Ghana. Shabonia Kos Ghana. In mere one those in low positions, those in the highest authority, will be anyone ocean in a trahe, Ghana. Will be any ocean in a trahe. Miana ye rasta be moving tiswa, wash a weave. Will be any one ocean in a trahe. And so, I know what you can respect. Ghana Krum Hotio. Yeah? Chief Justice say, Obi more tight, non she suit imaginarily. And so, no, Otihono, no less of Ujinjano. We now offer a method, they go into so, was a friend wake. When we say by ADAKABRI. So, near one dependent team, near here, na yendi kuniti so.
What can you imagine? Was it Sir Mr. White, your castle political suit na just appear before judges there. I was with this suit muna umia said do no day I tired no what as the minimum. Now Ghanaian President Akufo-Addo wa pioneer this African way, and then so almost yeah na enyefe.
ADAKABRI afe, but you see institution biane ne mra wo de adwuma.
Emra ni bi also na ya cake.
Akeko, enya akeko. Eyese mra no ye adwuma. You see, when you want to instill discipline, na woman na ye na wo say oh relax on mra ne sa ADAKABRI. Enka yese ye man kwa na nka sa weed bill ya pass yi. Enka yese police ki obi anka nam kromo a. Sani anka we nka se nyina ye jagum. Sani o kenka se jagum na ye pupo.
But don't you think we may erroneously be thinking say Obia now or Rastafarian no synonymous with weed.
That is our belief system.
But is it right?
It is not right, but you see, once our belief system beholds on that, that is what we are made to believe.
I wish I could read about the legal reasoning in Tia Akwadano or London no me overturning that decision. Or say Fulham school boy dreadlock ban overturned. Overturned probably meant that they've gone to court. It is a legal reason, then you ask yourself, say, are the Ghanaian courts Obakan say progressive enough or liberal enough to make such decisions as to allow a child otherwise brilliant to wear the locks in school.
Adakabri, by law, say me lawyer, but say omo de achimota fue kwa we mua. By law, the law would uphold it.
Uphold at the end.
Uphold say a mofrano have the right to go to school in their locks. The law would have menya lawyer ni, but menya sure say Ghana mrano esi ho kwan. Nemum say mrano be uphold no. Ya niema ni ye discipline ni ye culture ye denam no.
Also, what Mr. London is saying is wrong. I don't agree with him at all. The students can wait till they complete school so they can wear Brazilian hair.
Sure.
We are talking discipline.
Sure.
And discipline, I didn't know any uniform. Munyinama ko secondary school. Munyinama form 1. Akraka says, wear your locks. Osetuichu secondary says, wear your locks. Achimata says, do not wear your locks. Where is the uniformity?
And America say, Adakabri, say, yeshe we krano Akraka ne Osetuichu. Per disciplinary rules in the schools, they have heard. Yes, they have heard. Because, sir,
they anywhere be baby, I want no wako Achimata school, no. But me, I would have got for me. Sabiaku. Okohunus will be wear locks and into a specific question.
Adakabri, peer pressure. You cannot go against it.
Not much matter school for Quada or Monum great.
Oh, and America say,
Mr. Williams at Matter school for Quada
on Monsieur.
Now, one see it every year. Don't or no see dia who encourage it
because we encourage say you who you want Quebec and Wesam.
Because me in mathematics school all student bia or school near friend Shane, which is a minion mechanic. Ninia penny ko ye do ye near friend Shane. It was also called near friend Shane. Now, no papa a chief cocoa officer. It is Shane. I didn't say Shane as anything.
Sir, or the penny nechi.
And I'm just a dish Shane, no, a young guy named Watchmata school. I say,
just so Swadia who pa Adakabri.
Oh, FRIMPONG, the very Shane, Mr. Jesse, chief cocoa officer, and the man now, oh, yeah, dear papa, almost dear so.
Sure,
so no, and no Munia Banoka, Accra girls, but a man and me no Watchmata school. Na me percepti as a dear internet from me no Shane.
Say Adakabri, Munimadia.
Munimadia pa. It will bury our heads. Yes, sir.
Yes, sure.
In the Hebrew and Yinabem was say a year Hebrew Yinabem was it in the Hebrew Bible a Nazarite or Nazarite is one who voluntarily took a vow described in Numbers 6:1-21. Nazarite comes from the Hebrew word nazar, meaning consecrated or separated. This vow required the person during this time to abstain from all wine and anything else made from the grapevine plant, such as cream of tartar, grape seed oil, etc. Traditional rabbinic authorities state that all other types of alcohol were permitted. Refrain from cutting the hair on one's head, but to allow the locks of the head to grow. So no Hebrew class say yetimi ye say no actually the Bible permits the locks
and I make us a Bible ne permitted locks no Adakabri
Achimata school say or no dey way unbiblical
and I make us say ya so for ya omo gina hey Archbishop Duncan I don't know the mansion locks
because they choose not to.
If they choose not to, then it means that we know and share kete.
Are you saying says what the locks do a year action at James Sao?
Oh, so they do action. Send your over kataso. Now, kataso.
Now we are going to know what the fair.
Oh, but
I home for crowd.
Adakabri media may feel say. And
no keke.
There be and yes, Mahokwan, and Manisi. Now then, atheist, any traditionalist, or no dear, New school now, or Yaman Hokwan.
Oh, maybe we are Kokobus headmaster. So will be the Comwa. Or common suit down on Musuno Boama school no question.
No near semi.
Now, come so many mamma come.
Well, so I don't cry or tries. I'm sustaining who non travel panachin or passing.
I say, ask your guest in the studio if Amu went against sectorial rules at PTC for which he was dismissed. Does he think it was right to dismiss Amu? Well, no. Yenara Yasasini. Na Amu yetimi yi ni Free Presbyterian Training College on the basis of Ediabeya. Are we not too backward somewhat?
No, you see, ADAKABRI, maybe I may feel say, you see, your custom and your culture.
Yes, Ruby be a the fear of the uncertainty. You need the woman ye can be see MP. Nanka akwada say oko baby oko the JSS no. Say dreadlocks no your how be a then with me ko JSS na the pass.
You see, JSS no.
Obadi Kofi.
Say a pure private schools.
And a private school no to me the back coin na kwala na wear locks. Now what me try private school there. Was oba a year public school there. I was here stop
school ho and your cocoa.
Oh yes.
We crave your cloy day student type and come back consider. But
does the school have the right to say go cut your locks?
Yes, because
no, it may be.
If you want to be in the school, your rules, your regulations.
I'm going human rights court. Near Chelsea, bit me and your decision soon.
And the ADAKABRI, I think so. We have to try. You try never far. Not for the amend
and the affairs of
I think that
because Obianka say lower grades in Makwadana because we're Rastafarian.
No, he passed well.
He passed well.
And then that one, there is no doubt about it. Well, but going forward is what we are talking about. Going forward, yeah, quite animal, and I can want 70, yeah, quite enemy, I can want some of the and none someone on a share, na ya can want some. It may be them feel say, Akraka may have accepted them. Achimota is upholding their rules and their culture, and therefore their rules and their discipline. Let's hold it. And then if there should be clarity, GES should come out and clarify across board. Say your new amended rules and regulations, Nini. This is the way we want. Not just say, do you hear conform ban so?
But all students in Komusimu saying,
ADAKABRI, school ye chia yani ya kwani yakosi
na Professor Ayite no wo University of Ghana no Obisha locks are not permanent.
When you sure say Obisha locks the ko ho hu ye. And one say, who do university crown so ADAKABRI? Now you're matured.
Senior publicist. And that's what Obisha locks.
Now you're matured. University you're matured and therefore and only
na JSS what me actually locks na SS no ntimi share locks
JSS they send papa and anyway say schools here ADAKABRI private schools here dozen so you can pick and choose which one to go okwa anom si omonye wa
me pe konfo kwa da enwum bi di amount is of atware mu kakra na konfo kwa da ne nwum be ya eye tusu di ebeba konfo kwa da ne nwum be kra na na ohwe normal comfort kwa de ofie ni pa na amen tra comfort kwa de ofie ni pa hwe comfort kwa de hwe nyuma woto